Mrs. Densmore, and we're kind of whispering because the class is still going on. But thank you for letting me be in your classroom.
Oh, you're welcome. I have you.
I have a couple of questions. Grades 4 to
4, 5, and 6. Yeah.
5 and 6. And what were they just doing?
They're learning coding, and they're creating a controller that's a puff controller that you blow into that makes the game they create have movement. It's pretty cool.
So why are they doing it on their computer? Because they haven't got the puffing going yet?
Yeah, probably next class they'll figure out how to connect the puffer to the program.
That's way beyond me. Yeah, I didn't do this in grade 4.
No, me neither.
Do you feel that this is a valuable thing to have in your classroom?
Oh, for sure. It's very exciting. They're really into it and engaged and excited to have him come in each week. So
is this a science?
It is part of science for sure. Yeah.
Physics? What is it?
Science in Alberta has a new coding section, computer science, so it fits right into what they're supposed to do for that.
And Mr. Greenlaw comes in once a week?
Yes, for 4 periods.
4 periods, 4 periods a week?
So just 4 total periods. Yeah, he's come in. This is his 3rd, so 1 more on Wednesday.
And then do they get tested on it, or they just get to play their game? They know how.
Probably, yeah. They won't be tested on it. It's more to experience something new that I wouldn't have been able to show them how to do. So it's pretty exciting.
That's what we just came to see what really happens with the STEM teacher in our school system. So thank you so much for allowing us to do this.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, let's go into controller. And we're going to code our one button, the only button, the A button. Okay, so go into controller. I want you to go into logic and grab this first block. It says if true then. Drag that inside of the on A button pressed. Okay, so you should have a level. I see you guys made much better levels than I did, but I'm just gonna add in a few more platforms here. So here's how you get your starting location. Watch what I do. I'm gonna move my cursor to the spot I want my character to start. Okay, I want them to start right here. Can you see my cursor? I want it to start right there. It's above the platform, not in the platform, above the platform. And down below here, there are some coordinates that tell me the position of that cursor. So as I move my cursor around, the numbers are changing. But if I put it right there, can you see what my numbers are?
211.
211. Yours will probably be different, but close.
Mine's 0.
Okay, so mine's gonna be 211. Go ahead and find your starting coordinates. Just tell me what they are so that I know you got it. What's yours?
0, 10.
0, 10.
1, 11.
1, 11.
1, 10.
Okay, is anybody confused as to what their starting coordinates are? We all got it? And you understand it?
14.
111. Thank you. Awesome. Okay, you guys tell me. Okay, I'm going to throw this up. I'm going to give it velocity up.
Yeah.
What's going to happen after that?
It's gonna fall down.
Okay, it's going to fall back down. Why? Gravity. Good.
We need gravity.
With gravity, as something is falling, is it getting faster and faster and faster, or is it going the same speed the whole time?
Faster.
If I jumped out of an airplane, would I be going faster and faster and faster as I hit the ground?
Yes.
You bet. Okay? So, does anyone know the science word we call motion that gets faster and faster and faster?
Acceleration.
Nice job. Okay, it's called acceleration. So, we need to give our character acceleration in order to experience gravity. Here's how we do that. Go back up to the green spot. We're going to put another block there. And go back into sprites to the same block we just got. Set my sprite X to 0.
Okay.
Exact same block. It has to be this block. Okay, don't use anything else. Good?
Yep.
Drag that to the bottom of the green part, the on start part. We want my sprite as Jasper or whatever your character is. And then the X what was gravity called again? What kind of motion was it? Acceleration. Acceleration up and down or acceleration side to side? Which way does gravity go? Up and down. Can you guess which one does the up and down stuff? The X or the Y? It's the Y. Okay. Y is for up and down stuff. X is for side to side stuff. Okay. So you're going to change that X to acceleration Y. And then the number at the end
That's acceleration X.
to 500. Oh, thank you. That's going to look weird.
Oh, the 500? Oh, wait.
Yeah. So you want acceleration Y to 500.
That's a lot.
He does, yeah. And the light here, or the A button flickers. Uh-oh, I'm stuck. Yeah, so one thing we can change in our controls is we can make this A button not flicker as intense. Uh-oh, made it. Oh no, I missed it!
You know, I was so impressed by being at the school at Sylvan Meadows Adventist School with Colton Greenlaw that I invited him to come back to the office because I know he has other things that he likes to take out to the schools because of his work. So, Colton, I'm so glad you're back again.
Thank you.
And you know that I've seen you with these out in the bistro because you come here and you put them together and we see them sometimes, but I want a little bit more about how they work in the school with the kids and what you actually do when you are doing a week. So let's review.
Sure.
What does STEM mean?
So STEM is an acronym that stands for science, technology, engineering, and math. And while that's a very basic definition, I've come to learn that the true heart of STEM is solving meaningful problems using the design process. So the design process, in a nutshell, is where you try to see a need out there in the world. You come up with an idea for how you want to meet that need, and you create a prototype, and you iterate on it and improve it, get feedback from whoever you're trying to service, and ultimately try to make a final product that solves that problem for that person. So there are some what I call skill building projects that I get to do with classrooms and with teachers and students that help them start to build an imaginative style of thinking where they can start creating their own solutions and making their own ideas come to life. And once they have those basic skills down, they can start tackling some more meaningful problems that they can solve.
Something like what you did in the classroom?
Yeah.
Because the kids were of different grades, so they learn at different levels.
Yeah.
And you had to make it so that the youngest could learn as well as the oldest could learn, and it would be a challenge.
Yeah. Yeah. All the projects are scalable in that way, where there's an easy access point where everybody can get in on kind of the ground floor and be able to develop a basic form for whatever project we're doing. But beyond that, kids are either free to expand their own creativity and upscale whatever project they want to make, or I'll add some additional challenges in, like those puff controllers I did at Sylvan. I give them the added challenge of making a sip and puff controller, which I'll demo here once we go around the table. But that is a way that the kids who are a little bit more adept or a little bit more skilled and knowledgeable in the area, they can showcase that by expanding on the project that I've done with everyone else.
So I haven't had a chance to actually ask you what your background is.
My background is mostly in math. So I was a junior high school math teacher for the majority of my career. I dabbled a little bit in elementary and college math as well, but most of it has been centered around math. I've done a couple science classes, I've done physics, but a lot of it has just been in the mathematics realm. And science has always been a passion for mine. It's something that I really enjoy learning about. I'm a very curious person. And I think that has just kind of been the foundation of doing a job like this, where I just love to learn, and I like to learn new technologies and new ideas. And I say all of that because I didn't like go to school to study to be a STEM teacher. I don't even really think you can, because I don't know if that's a program that they offer at universities. But I think there's a lesson in there, in that any teacher who's curious enough and willing enough to learn can do what I do, right? And can take the projects that I've developed and make them their own and do them in their classrooms. I'd like to think that people have an innate curiosity, that if they're given the time and the materials and the support to grow that curiosity, it can really blossom into something awesome. So, yeah, I think, like, as far as what qualifies me, I do have a math and science background, a fairly strong one, but beyond that, I think more importantly is just a hunger to learn and to discover and to think of new ideas. And I think that's an accessible point for most other people as well.
So did you do some of this when you were teaching math, science?
Yeah, I did some. When I was teaching math, particularly when I taught calculus, I really tried to make that a tangible subject, because that can feel like a fairly dry, abstract topic to learn.
Yes.
And so a couple of the projects that I did there were inspired by the principal that I was working for. He asked me to figure out the volume of a giant pile of gravel. Like, it was probably 5 times taller than what I was. And so I used some slope formulas from grade 10 math. I used volume of revolution around an axis from calculus, and took a bunch of measurements around the base of the cone and figured out the angle of elevation, and used trigonometry to figure out its heights, and came up with a fairly rough estimate, but usable estimate for how much gravel there was. They needed to know that because the person who had ground it up for them was doing it as a favor for them, but wanted to know, like, he wanted a little bit of payment, and so we had to figure out how much gravel there was in order to give him a fair price. And so that was one project I did with them. Another project I did, that I still did when I came back to Alberta, was we would use a hiking app, like Strava is a good example, where you use your phone and you kind of walk around the perimeter of a big area or a big space, and it tracks your movement, right? It draws a little path on a digital map. And so when I was in Chetwynd, as well as being here in Alberta, in Chetwynd, my principal wanted to know what the area of the field was behind the school. And here in Alberta, I wanted to know what the area was of the Burman campus when I was doing this project with the kids. And so we'd walk around the perimeter of each of these sections of land, and then we would use indefinite integrals and some calculus and some integration to be able to figure out what the area was. So we take the picture that we created on our phone and we put it up into some software that created a grid over top of that. And then we would chunk it into different pieces and measure the areas of certain sections using integration, which is a method you learn in calculus. And from that, we just scaled it up using some math from 20-2 and figured out what the real life area was. So,
well, I understood some of those words, calculus and all those kinds of things, because I took this a long time ago, but I wasn't into it quite as much as somebody with a very inquisitive mind for this. So what's your week look like?
Yeah. So my week is about 25% preparation and about 75% in the classroom somewhere in the province.
So you go to all the schools?
Yeah, I work at all the schools. Teachers, kind of the format we found that works really well is teachers will book me for a weekly visit for about 4 to 5 weeks in a row.
Oh, okay.
And not that it has to be that way, but I find that works really well because a lot of these projects take more than one class period, and they don't want to give up their entire science block or math block for the whole week. So just a weekly visit kind of keeps it fresh for the students, doesn't become overbearing, and allows them to kind of still move through whatever place they are in their curriculum.
So we have, I think, 11 schools, right?
11 schools.
Consequently, you're on the road a lot too.
A lot, yep. I drive a lot.
And you have to have a good calendar.
Yes. It's so there's a lot of colors on it.
Oh, okay. Every school is color coordinated,
well,
I suppose.
Every task is color coordinated. So I keep all the school visits one color, but then meetings or professional development workshops, prep time. Those are all different blocks. But yeah, so it's a lot of time in the classroom. I didn't really know that the job would be like that when I started. Maybe I just kind of made it that way when I started going out. But I really like the act of teaching still. I really enjoy being with students. It's if I didn't have that in an education job, it would be hard for me.
We noticed that.
Yeah.
We noticed that when you were teaching at Sylvan Lake the day we were there. You were having a good time.
Yeah.
The students loved you.
Yeah.
It was good. It was good. But now, because I was more curious about some of the other things, we're going to go around this table that we have in our boardroom here at work, and we're going to look at some of the things that you have done and see how some of them work. I was fascinated by the one over there in the corner.
Yeah.
So, we're going to look at them, and you're going to tell me which parts of calculus, or is it physics too?
Physics,
maybe?
science in general. Yeah.
How it works. And I know STEM is really big in lots of curriculums in this day and age. So, and every school needs it. So let's start.
Okay.
You show me around.
Let's go to the corner here, because this is naturally where my starting point is for most projects that I do with classes.
Okay.
So this is kind of if I'm brand new to a school, and particularly if I'm working with younger kids, this is my go-to project. We can crack it out in about 45 minutes.
Yeah, and so you've made all these things out of simple things, really.
Yep.
Cups, straws, cardboard.
Yeah.
All sorts of things that you'd have in your house if you were going to have crafts with your kids.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that was kind of like a bit of an accidental thing, and a little bit of a philosophy that was inspired by my time in the classroom. I know that school budgets are tight, and so the cost of materials has to be reasonable if they're going to be able to do STEM projects. So cardboard is by far my favorite medium to make things with, because honestly, cardboard's free. You can find a recycling depot. I go to General Appliance in Lacombe at their warehouse. They told me to, so I'm not stealing anything. But yeah, I go there, and they have huge sheets of refrigerator boxes and stove boxes, and they are kind of the basis for most of these projects, because it's readily available. There's a lot you can do with it. It's quite sturdy, and yeah, I love it.
Okay. What's this one again?
Yeah, so this is called the Cotton Ball Launcher, and I use it to talk about two different things in the K-3 curriculum. I use it to talk about how matter can be changed and manipulated, and also how forces can be exerted on an object. So those are two they're emphasized in different ways depending on which of those grades you're talking about. But one of the first things we talk about is how I can pull on this elastic and change the shape of the elastics on the side. I guess I pull on the pencil and it changes the shape of the elastics. And the result of that is this force that's built up inside of the elastics that is then released when I let go. So,
and it goes a long ways.
Well, it goes, I try to do some different designs with the kids to see how far we can get it to go, but they could probably launch it across this room.
It's like the paper airplanes.
Yes.
You can do those little big, they can go and
exactly.
maybe not go.
Yeah. And I like to cross-curricular it with data collection. That's something that the younger kids start learning in their math courses as well. So we have a connection between the science curriculum and the math curriculum. And data collection, what we do is we put some lines in their gymnasium, and we mark them with different stickers. We mark them with a blue or a yellow, a red, a green sticker. And then they record on a little sheet with those same stickers how far they were able to launch their cotton ball. And then they can come back to the classroom, make an improvement on their design, and then go back and test again to see whether or not it get better. Right? And that's essential to the long-term plan of STEM, where I'm trying to get them to think about how can I make this better. Right, for the purpose that I'm designing it for, because that's STEM. It shouldn't just be follow my instructions. STEM should be, here's an idea, or here's a challenge, or here's a problem, and we're going to create a basic version of this, but I want you to figure out how you're going to make this better, how you're going to improve upon it. And that is a hard skill for kids to learn, because sometimes all they do in school is they just follow instructions and repeat what I do, right? So to be given the space to actually just create your own thing or to improve something is a new idea, a new concept for a lot of students.
Well, interestingly, you said that because I know when we were watching you in the classroom and they were doing something and their little guy was moving and one of the kids said, "It's floating." Did you ever find out why?
I did.
Oh.
Yeah, I found out why. For most of them, I took that away because I took that feature out of their game because the controller would make it so that they would get stuck and couldn't move further. So it was different than having it be controlled with just their finger on the space bar versus using the puff controller. So I had to edit that out.
Okay, because I thought that was cute, and I thought, he didn't even know that it would float. So are the cups for something, or is that just for you to get them in?
Well, this is just kind of like a different thing that we can do with this project. So this is a game that I made with some of the kids in Higher Ground Christian School out in Medicine Hat. So we did do the data collection in the gym, but as kind of a bonus add-on to that project at the end, I had them just make a game. I gave them some materials, some cups, some cardboard, some tape, and I just said, you design the rules for the game, the goal of the game. The person playing your game has only 3 shots, so you can decide how far away they need to be and things like that. But secretly, I'm also hoping that they build that creative thinking, right, and problem solving on their own. I'm not directly telling them what to do. And it was cool to see some of the games that they made up.
Okay, I want to know who's going to go farthest. Do you have to get back here a little bit? Okay.
You want to try?
Yeah.
Okay.
1,
cool.
2. Whoa! I have to go this way.
Yeah, you got to pull back quite hard.
1, 2, 3. Mine went through there.
That's okay.
Oh, I failed. Okay,
Yeah.
we're leaving that one.
That's all
Let's
right,
go
that's
to the
all
next one.
Okay, so this one is the catapult or ball launcher. I guess it has a similar name to the other one, but I just call it the catapult. And we talk about mostly about forces, about pushing and rotating, and how those are different ways that we can launch a projectile in our world. There's also a good opportunity to talk about energy and how we can give energy to an object. Here we're giving it kinetic energy, and then that's transferring into gravitational potential energy as it comes back down.
Okay.
All of those things are really great connection points. But yeah, this one works by just holding your finger on there and then pushing it. We do the data collection with this as well. Students are usually able to launch things a lot further because a ball of aluminum is going to go further than a cotton ball.
For sure.
With the upper grades, I've done this project as well, but I haven't had them make what I made. Usually with the younger kids, I at least like everybody makes the same thing and then you improve on it. With the older kids, I say, here's what you need to make. You need to make a catapult that launches an aluminum ball.
So it could look different.
It could look different.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't really like even giving them an example in a lot of cases because many of them will just make that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you can talk about different ideas. Some of them have made like a slingshot type design. Some of them have made like a trebuchet where they have a counterweight on the other side. To varying degrees of success. But it's cool to see their thinking when you don't try to lead them too strongly in a particular direction.
Okay.
And yeah, that's something I think is really important as the students get older is generating your own ideas and then creating those things.
Then you can become an engineer.
Then you become an engineer.
Okay, so what's this one? This one looks like it should roll down the sidewalk.
Yeah, so these are balloon cars. These are still prototypes because they don't work exactly the way I want them to work.
Oh.
This one, I think, if we don't run into any bad luck, this one should go. So this one, I hope, goes.
Okay, we'll see.
Yeah, so that one does.
stuck.
It ran into my laptop.
Yeah.
There we go. So
Right
that one
off
does
the
go fairly
table.
well. Yeah, that's fine. But this one, I've been tinkering with it because I didn't really like the speed of that one, and I didn't quite get the holes in the center of the bottle caps. So it's got a bit of a
Okay. So those
chug.
are just bottle caps.
Those
you
are just
used.
bottle caps. Yep.
Okay.
So I thought, well, what if I put plates as the wheels? And so I put plates as the wheels, and then I figured out, oh no, like the cup is not big enough. I need 2 cups. So I glued them together. And then the wheels started to really sag when I put them on. You can see it really like flattens out.
Yeah.
So I put these bottle caps on,
help
to give
it.
them some sturdiness from behind. And then I tested it, and it was too heavy and it didn't go anywhere.
Oh, and I was going to say, if you put one there on the inside too, then they can stay straight.
It would probably be a lot more straight. It's true. But
Yeah.
what I probably have to do is just add another balloon. So
Yeah.
this is, I made this morning. I made both of these this morning. Yeah, because
So
I've
it
got.
didn't take you long.
No. I'm an adult, so it's it's different when you're doing it with a kid, and you have to remember that.
Yeah.
But this is what the preparation part of my job looks like, where I have an idea or I have a project that I've found online, and I think, okay, how can I bring this into a classroom at an affordable cost and help the kids at least get to a movable car that they can then improve on later.
Because these are just straws in the
Those
middle?
are just straws,
Okay.
yeah, and
Okay.
masking tape and cups and.
Well,
yeah.
let's go to another one, because
Yeah.
I know people always see this kind of thing in malls and all
Right.
sorts of places, but what is the reason you're using this?
Yeah, so this one is inspired by those marble runs that you
Mm-hmm.
sometimes see in a mall, or kids often have sets where
Yeah.
they can take a marble and it goes down slides and bumpers
Right.
and loop-de-loops and things like that. So this is the paper version of that.
Okay.
I think it's probably the most cost-effective project that I do, because it's literally just paper and tape and a piece of cardboard and I guess a ping pong ball.
And a ball.
Yeah. So this
Okay.
is a prototype for what I call an engineering challenge that I usually do with junior high and high school students.
Okay.
Where I show them this and I tell them the goal of this challenge is to create a marble run or a ball run that keeps the ball moving in the run for as long as possible. And that's basically the only instruction. You can make it as tall as you want, you can put in whatever elements you like, but the ball must be moving while it's in the run, and whoever can get it moving the longest is the winner.
So is this like a gravitational thing?
Yep.
Okay.
So curriculum-wise, it connects really well to things like in Science 10 and Science 8, where we talk about transfer of energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're taking the gravitational potential energy when we put it up top and transfer that into kinetic energy as the ball moves down. We have a stopwatch to record how long it takes to go through. And there is also a material cost that they have to factor into their score. So I think, if I remember right, you take your seconds that the ball was running for, multiply that by 4, and then subtract 1 point for every piece of paper that you've used.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's an important thing for the future engineers, where you can't just make everything out of gold and silver and diamonds. You have to think about how much is it going to cost for the company to make it, how much is it going to cost to ship it, to advertise it. There's a material cost or a consumption cost that goes into designing products. And so this gets them thinking along that line of, hey, if I made an invention one day, what is the cost benefit analysis that I'm going to do when I come up with an idea and I want to put it in the market.
Future engineers.
Future
Let's
engineers.
go around over here.
Yeah, so this side of the table is kind of the progression that I use for coding.
And that's
Based on the computer.
computers. This is more computer stuff on
More
this side.
computer stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. So
is this something we're going to look at, or is
so
it
this
just...
is the first thing.
Oh,
yeah.
it is something.
It is something. Yeah, it's not just a can of Pringles. This one I'm really proud of. It was something that was inspired by my master's program. This is actually from an assignment that I did in my master's program, where it's a recreation, a very basic recreation of the Enigma coding machine that the Nazis used back in World War II. Yeah. So the Nazis, they had this really sophisticated machine that had a ton of wires connecting different cylinders and different buttons. And essentially how it worked is you would receive an encoded message with a bunch of randomized letters, at least they looked randomized. And you'd have a keyboard here where you'd press a key, and maybe you press like an A, and then the letter P would light up. Right, so you know that A is coded to that P or wired to that P. And then inside there are some cylinders that would rotate just ever so slightly and rewire the entire mechanism.
Oh.
So if you pressed A again, maybe the letter F would light up. And then the mechanism would rotate again. And you press A again, and now M is lighting up. Right? So it was very difficult to crack because it was constantly changing its circuitry. It was changing the way the wires were connected to one another. Very, very cool thing. And so what I do is I teach the students how it works. I give them a puzzle that is actually a scavenger hunt around the school. So if students are watching this in the future, I'm kind of spoiling the surprise because they don't know it's a scavenger hunt until they solve the first clue.
Okay.
And it mentions an area in their school. And they're like, what does it mean when it says water fountain? I'm like, well, do you have a water fountain in your school? Oh, yeah. And then they go, and I've beforehand, during my prep, I've taped like another clue underneath the water fountain.
Yeah.
So they get the clue, and it's just a bunch of scrambled letters. I teach them how to set up the cylinders so that they can solve those puzzles, which is the same thing that the Nazis did. They were given a key, is what it's called. So you spell a certain word with these letters first. I mean, it might spell river, or it might spell bread or something like that. Those are just the initial settings. And then they start putting in the different letters one by one, and they just rotate it ever so slightly to rewire it correctly. And you follow the wires back to the desired outcome, and they're able to crack the code. So this is, even though it's not exactly coding, because coding is the art of giving instructions to a computer to tell you what you want it to do, it is a good lesson in algorithm design and how to follow directions.
Did they have computers back then?
It was the start of the age of the computer.
Okay.
So the name of the mathematician escapes me. Alan Turing, that was his name. I hope that's his name. Somebody will correct me.
There was a movie about this too.
There was, yeah. In fact, that movie is about this exact device.
That's what I thought.
Where Alan Turing designed one of the very first computers called the Bombe, B-O-M-B-E, and it was designed to crack Enigma. So you kind of had one brain against another brain in this intellectual warfare that was going on during the World War. And it was the reason why they were able to figure out how the Enigma worked, and they were able to intercept messages and eventually win the war.
Wow.
So, yeah, very cool device.
That is, and here I thought it was just a pretzel box.
Yeah.
Tube. Okay, so let's look at the ones that are connected to computers.
Yeah, so all of these projects here use something called a microbit. So once I have students comfortable with just doing coding and making games on a computer, I then try to transition them over to physical computing, where they're taking the code that they've made on a computer and they put it into a device like this, just basically a little microchip that can understand those instructions and then perform whatever function we want it to do.
So all the grandparents and the parents that are watching this now know where their kids are coming from when they tell them the things that they're doing.
And I will say, a lot of kids are disappointed that they can't keep the microbits and take them home because they're about $40 a pop. But also grandparents and parents, they're $40 a pop. So if your kid comes home with a microbit project and they're like, Mom, Dad, I really wish I could show you this or change it or improve it, maybe it's a good birthday present or Christmas present, because
how fun.
There are hundreds of things and projects that you can do with
They
these.
might have to have you come over and help set it up and have them work it. But okay, so this one is a plastic bag. I think this is probably
So yeah, this is one of my first projects that I do. This ties in really nicely to grade 9 science, both in the space exploration unit as well as the electrical circuits. It's also a good introduction to sensors. So this microbit is connected to a distance sensor. This is an ultrasonic sensor that is just sending out ultrasonic waves back and forth, and it's measuring the distance from the sensor to whatever I'm pointing it at.
okay.
Right? And so it's able to understand how far it is from certain things. And the challenge I give to students is that they have to make a lunar landing module based on the Apollo missions, right? A little thing that we can drop from a height and have it fall down to the Earth. And this sensor figures out how far it is every second, basically, as it's falling down, and you can translate that into speed, right? The formula for speed is just distance divided by time. So you can put that formula into your code, and it'll spit out a graph for you and everything, and store all the data inside the microbit. And students can see and measure how long it took them to have their lander go down to the ground.
I just want to see it coming down, like the parachute thing.
Well, I guess we can do that too, yeah.
Can we try it?
So it won't be hooked up because I had to disconnect it from power. And I usually go from a much higher source, so it might just flop, but that's okay. So we usually stand on a big tall ladder in the gym or on the stage, and then we count 1, 2, 3, and we let it go. And then that device in the bottom is recording the speed all the way down, right?
Okay.
And it saves it inside of the microbit, so we can pull the data up on our computer and see the graph that it created. And either we calculate the speed using the instantaneous rate of change, something like that, or we just put it into our code that we want the speed calculated for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I want to go to that one at the back because
Yeah.
these two are ones that we kind of saw, and I know you're going to tell me about them.
Oh,
But
I'm snagged.
this one I like. This one I like.
Yeah, so this one is what I call the solar flower, which is inspired by one of my favorite websites for getting science projects. It's called Science Buddies. There's actually a teacher out at Southside that gave me that lead, and she encouraged me to check it out. And
Can I
there's
just
all
show
sorts
him
of
that
things.
there's a solar panel on there?
Yeah.
Isn't that cool?
So how this is designed is it's meant to track the brightest source of light in a room.
Oh, okay.
Right? So real plants often have this ability to solar track the
Yeah, they always go
position
that
of the
direction,
sun.
right?
Yep. And so this is mimicking that similar
Okay.
that similar design. And so yeah, I'll just run it here. Hopefully it grabs the sunlight where we need it. I usually just use my phone, but there are a lot of lights in here, so we'll see how it goes. So what it does is it does a 180-degree scan. And every tick that it's doing here, it remembers how much light it was seeing at that position. It translates it into a voltage reading, and then it's stored inside the microbit. So once it's done 180-degree rotation, okay, it wanted to come back to me. Once it's done 180-degree rotation, then it remembers where the brightest light was, and it'll go back and point at that spot.
Oh.
So we'll see if we can get it to go somewhere else. But sometimes I usually do it with the room dark, because that way it's very certain where that brightest source would be. And
It's you.
Not. It's me, I guess.
You're the brightest source. Okay. So is that a prototype that, people that want to do solar panels on their roofs, it's good for that?
Yeah, so the need it fulfills now is it helps to hit the mechanical subsystems unit in grade 8 science. We do parallel and series circuits a little bit in grade 9 science, and so this is a good opportunity to talk about that. But the servo motor in here has different pieces. It has a little motherboard, it has a potentiometer, it actually has a DC motor as well. All of those things they study in grade 8 science. And so it's a really good junior high project to kind of scale up from these more basic designs and projects to something a little bit more sophisticated.
I'm the one now.
You're the brightest light.
It's the white jacket. Reflecting.
Yeah, so I just finished doing this project in Sylvan last week, and I had a really good time with it. And it's a really good kind of progression for the different projects that I do with coding.
So I think we saw this one.
Yeah. So these two.
Sylvan.
Yeah, I really enjoy talking about these two projects. These are called puff switches. At least this first one's called a puff switch. And how it's designed to work is it's meant to mimic a device used by persons with disabilities who don't have the use of their arms or their hands, right? So many of those individuals will have a little mechanism near their mouth that has several straws that they can blow into or puff air into or sip air, right? And that puff or that sip will close an electric circuit and cause a command to be executed, whether it's opening a door or turning on the water or moving their wheelchair if they're in a wheelchair, something like that, right? So I wanted students to kind of get in the headspace of what is it like to be a person with this disability? What would life be like? And how could I have some fun, right, in my life? And so they designed a video game on the computer that can be controlled with this device.
Oh.
Then this is the code for the controller. So it's not
this
that
is
much
the
more
controller?
complicated. This is the controller here. Yeah. So once they have that down, then they make the game. With these kids, they're all kind of just making the same game. I've had others who just make their own interpretation, but
What grade is this?
this is grades 4, 5, 6.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I've done it 7, 8, 9. High school would work really, really well too. And then this is just like different angles of the puff switch that I made.
What is this?
Yeah, I kind of show them like how to make this arch first and then how to make this flap. And then the back plate for the tinfoil to touch on. But outside of that, the rest of the design is really up to them, right? Like they know they have to make a box for the straw. They know that they have to make some supports down here in order to hold it together. They can decorate it the way they want. This student over here actually made a really cool one. Can I grab your switch over here and just show them? Is that okay with you? Yeah, so he made some housing,
His is enclosed.
which is really nice, yeah, and then added some really cool decoration on it. So the first piece of tinfoil is up here, and that's connected to the flap down below. And then the second piece of tinfoil, we'll get an alligator clip onto that, and when he blows on it, that should complete the circuit,
Yeah.
and away it goes.
But you can't see it as well as this.
No,
These are
no.
ones you can see.
It's true, but like, I mean, good design, once you have the basics of it, it's good to kind of hide the internals as much as possible, because that gives you a good aesthetic. It's a little bit more sturdy as well. There's less risk of this falling through. My only worry is that there's probably enough aluminum there, so I think he's probably going to be fine, but it's really well designed. I think it's
You'll
it's
find
very
out on
cool.
Wednesday when
We're going
you
to
do
find
it.
out, yeah, and if it doesn't work, then, you just try again and modify, and that's how it works.
How long did it take for the kids to do this portion?
So the switch takes a class period, about an hour. The game, we'll get most of the game done today.
So that's on your computer?
That's on the computer, yeah. And then the code for the controller we did on the first day. And that is kind of two parts. Like, we have to do a little bit of how does electricity work and how does closing the circuit work, and making sure we understand just a really basic conditional statement. But once we have that down, we then make the controller or the code for the controller, hook it up with Bluetooth, make sure the computer is responding, and off to the races.
Very up-to-date and modern.
Yeah, I hope so. So all they have to do to play it is they just puff into this straw, and that causes these two pieces of aluminum foil to make contact with each other, which makes this device understand, oh yeah, okay, when the circuit is closed, I'm going to send a button press to the computer, right? And I have a game there that I demo to the students, but they make their own game that has to be controlled with only one button press, right? So usually it's just a character who's moving across the screen, and the button press just makes them jump over obstacles. So yeah, I really like this device. Right now I'm in the process of trying to scale it up to actually service a community where people with these disabilities exist. I actually just got a call this morning from one of the directors of an organization in Edmonton. She's interested in possibly having us visit and meet some of these people, have them try out their designs. And I'd like to teach kids how to do some 3D printing so that they can make more robust structures.
Right.
So 3D printing is another great way to, even though the cost up front is expensive, it's cheap down the road because filaments and resin and things like that are relatively cost effective. And so they learn 3D design, they learn how to take a design and put it into a slicer program and then have that be printed on the 3D printer. All of those things. And so that could be a really cool relationship between the classroom and their community, where they're going back and forth between their classroom where they're designing and then whatever
Actually
clinic or
using it.
and actually trying to bring some joy to the lives of those individuals. So there's always things in progress, and so I'm not sure exactly where that will land. But I'm hoping that we can make a connection there. And
well, this has been fun. This has been really fun. I mean, I enjoyed this, and I'm not into science like that at all. But if it's the kids that are learning how to do this, it's wonderful for them.
Cool.
And I want to thank you for coming and bringing all this. I know you have many at home. But this was just a sample of what you can do. So thank you again.
My pleasure.
Okay.
It's been great. Cool. Thanks, Scott.
Put that in. Thanks, Scott.
Thanks, Scott.